Okay, let's go back to playing. So 15-minute games. I'm not put off by any recent events. A 1902. Okay, I'm only about 100 and something points, not to be taken for granted. Beating this kind of rating. I can't play a Sicilian. So maybe dragon or something. Or I don't know, dragon is fun. A bit risky on the H file. Or E6. Oh, let's go for a dragon. If I get slayed, I get slayed. On the H file. Okay. Let's check this guy briefly. So his highest rating was achieved 29th of November 2011 of 1825. He's played a total of 27 games on this. Looks like a much more established player, very good established player. Played lots of games on the ICC. So, am I playing with fire here? Probably. But for those that want to play the dragon, okay, this might be interesting, I hope. I'm not a great dragon exponent, but it's been some success in 5-minute games with it. So, bishop c4. If I play knight e5 to try and get onto c4, or bishop d7 first, because then the idea is knight e5, bishop e3. I can play rook c8 and knight c4. So if I play knight e5 immediately and bishop b3 and then bishop d7, there might be f4. The only hand is knight g4, I don't know. But I think bishop d7 looks safer from a theoretical point of view. Okay, I'll go in for this. Try and get the light square bishop. I'm waiting for an h4. There'll be an h5, a bishop g5. And sometimes e5 break is very difficult to handle with a bishop on d7. This is a bit of a tactical liability, as we've seen in 5-minute games against the e5 break. So it looks as though both sides are going for the king, but there's tactical vulnerabilities as well in the position lurking. Especially, I suppose, if you swap off this knight, it's no longer guarding against the e5, which I'm about to do. So e5 with this battery here is often dangerous once this knight disappears. I expect h4 here. Not yet h4. So here it looks as though, I don't know, is e5 being prepared here? I'm hoping it's not crushing in this position. I wonder, actually, e5 here. G5, g4 for g5, okay. Start to move this bishop somewhere, maybe, or b5, sack a pawn, bishop c6, or queen a5, there's knight d5. Okay, so g5 and knight d5 look to be big, like threats. Like queen b8 for b5, g5 and then knight d5 looks strong again. Okay, what about bishop e6? That covers d5 a little bit here. If I get double pawns, I'm not sure it matters. I want to cover d5. Then I've got rid of the light square bishop. This diagonal shouldn't be as sensitive anyway, so maybe g5, knight h5. Right, here, if I try and just keep things sealed tight, I wonder if I'm going to be in big trouble. Okay. Try and keep things sealed up if he does play g5. wonder if there's e5 takes 96, I just take on d2, there's no check or anything. If I take here, I suppose knight takes and then g6. This could be the end of me actually, this g6. And so it might not be the h file, or the g file. But it depends, you know, he might have c3 issue on this diagonal. King h7. Have I got queen e8 there to defend g6? Or is it going to be slaughter time? Big question. It's always a bit hair raising, the dragon, with this opposite side casting scenario. Okay, so I guess rook g1, queen e8, or king h7 first. So king h7 first. I'm hoping not going to get slaughtered too quickly. So queen e8, if I get a chance. Or will there be rook g6 or queen g2? Queen g2. So queen e8 looks like a useful move in the circumstance. Okay. Bishop c3 might be on the cards. Rook f6, is that useful as bishop g5 or that knight f4 first? I don't want to encourage h5s by unblocking this pawn. Okay, so something like I don't know, is it worth playing rook b4? He's going to unblock this pawn with knight g3 pretty soon. Queen f7, knight g3. What about queen f6? c3, b5. So it's bishop d4 on the cards. But I'm on f3, so I'll go queen f7. I'm not really on f3 actually. Only if he plays knight g3 maybe. Queen f3, otherwise queen g6. Okay, it's getting a bit scary. What about rook g8 and then move the bishop? Just to try and support this g6 pawn. So rook g8, maybe bishop e5 after. So knight g4, I assume queen f3 is a reasonable reply there. If knight takes, then queen takes, I think I'm okay. Wow. Am I in big trouble now? That looks to be quite aggressive. So I can't take on f4 without losing g6 pretty soon. It's getting a bit scary now, it's got to be said. Okay, because h5 is going to come soon. Right, I could take on f4 anyway. I'll take on f4 anyway. I know I'm liberating the h pawn. So rook g8, h5, I don't know. It looks to be big trouble. What about rook c5 and then g5 with h5, bishop g5, queen f3. Does keep things a bit closed, so I could play rook b4 first, try and create a weakness. b3, queen f6. I'll tempt a weakness here with rook b4, I think. Hopefully I'm not going to be slaughtered for that. So then rook b5 actually would stop h5. Well, when I say stop, I could play rook h5, but there's rook h1. And there's queen f6 here is interesting for rook b2, so I'll play queen f6 as well. I've still got this in hand, this rook b5 idea to stop h5. Maybe this isn't so bad. b3 and there's queen a1 mate. c3, yeah, that's possible because I'm tied down. So I'll go back here, defending the king side. If I can get to play rook h5, Rook h5. Am I holding the fort down? I was trying to attack with this rook, this heroic rook over here. Comes back. I need to be able to defend g6 so that my queen can do something later. e5. What's this? I don't get it. Whoops. What's going on here? Rook e5. Let's calm down emotionally. f4. Is that a threat? I'm not sure. There's queen c2. There's h5. I don't know. I've got rook f5, so I think I'm going to take with the rook, just to make sure I can still play rook h5. Strange. e5. Okay. Bishop g5. There might be queen f5. So rook f5 here. There's rook g4. Okay, so he's cleared away for rook g4. That still looks really quite dangerous. He says messed up move order. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So, can I take advantage of this? Say bishop h6. He plays rook g4. I take on c1. Does he play king takes? Queen takes f3. Rook takes g6. Rook takes, queen takes g2. Rook takes, then rook f7. So can I get away with bishop h6? Why would I want to do that? Bishop's not doing much on the diagonal at the moment. I wonder. Is there anything else that's active here? Even though he claims to have blundered, I don't really trust that particularly. There's rook h5, still stopping h5 from white. And if rook g5, queen f3, and if rook g6, queen takes g2, rook takes g2, I can do something, say rook f7, but maybe rook e6, but maybe rook h4. That ending's not that bad. So there's queen f3. If he ignores that, I don't know, I'm still in trouble on g6 there. I don't like this trebling business particularly. It's not the most pleasant thing to face. So still really dangerous position after this e5. Okay. If I play check, does it really do anything? King moves. Rook f6, bishop g5, queen f3 is an exchange sack, takes on f6, take on g2. That might be nice as an exchange sack to play rook f6. Does keep things supported, but then he still has h5 at the end of that. Now, queen h5, there's rook h1. If g takes, then there's queen g7. So there's still immense pressure here on g6 coming up. So let's go back to this rook h4 line. Rook h4 with the idea rook g4 check, drive the king up, maybe queen f3. I think I'll go for that because it blocks, basically in principle, it blocks the h5 possibilities. I want to try and get the queens off, put the king in the corner for back row possibilities or tactics based on that. Oh dear, there's rook f4 as well. That's dangerous. Rook f4 I missed. Okay. There's rook f5, but maybe h5. Okay, there's check here, as previously mentioned, and queen f3. So let's see if I can get away with that. Try and get the queens off here. Try and get the pressure off. What if just rook f6, bishop g5, queen f3? Ah, that's a big smile of relief for me to take that queen off. Whatever happens now, I think it's a good game. I'm not getting slaughtered embarrassingly. So if I take on f3. He can take on g6. Surely I can just play bishop f6 there without too much issue. I hope. The rook defends h6. There's no embarrassing rook h6 mate. There's rook g8. The rook could still do a lot of damage. So bishop f6, rook g8. These rooks are still running rampage. If they say that one moves there, that one moves there. The bishop will be protecting h8, so there's no rook h6 mate. If I play just bishop f6, if there's anything better. I want this rook to be free to go for the attack rampage, and it protects e6, so bishop f6 seems to tick a lot of boxes. Famous last words. So 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, pawn up, h4 is a bit weak, no immediate mating threats. Fuel supplies are okay on time for critical positions. 6 minute 31, okay. Rook g8, okay. So, where is this king going if I play check? Does it go out? Does rook b5? Isn't that dangerous? I could check the check. What does he do? It's not doing much on f3 anyway. If it goes out, there's rook b5. So before taking here, I want to see if this check's dangerous. Interesting. Okay, so what's the situation here? I can't expose his king. He's going to coordinate again the rooks on the back row. b5, a5, a4. King would start to just munch these pawns. Rook b8 might be a serious threat pretty soon. This bishop's very good defensively. Can I try to get these pawns going in the centre while the king's sort of safe-ish? e5, e4, that sort of thing. Not sure. The bishops are kind of blockading them as well. I don't want to run too short of time here. I'm stuck. If I take this h pawn, is there any benefit? He just seems too safe here in this position. I could try a5 and let his rooks come, because bishops on there for a moment. When he does play bishop g5, that will be scary. Is there a way to just break the connection of these rooks in any way? No, that doesn't seem. Fortunately, I don't know. Check. I don't know. I don't want to run too short of time either. So, right, I'll just take this. I think, there's rook f8 as well. I'm a bit stuck. So I think it's still pretty nasty position. Unless, no, I can't see a way out. I cannot see a way out of rook f8. It looks pretty strong as well. If there's a check, it's going to have a perpetual at minimum. Oh dear. Was bishop g7? I want to keep that protected. Okay, so bishop g7 is a defensive idea to rook f8. Finally. So 3 minute 34, I'm going to have to start playing very quickly here. So rook f8, bishop g7. Then maybe b5, a5 for a4. Okay. Get this guy out of the way. I could also play rook f7 potentially. So rook h4 and a4. Okay, I'll take here. And I'm playing moves too quickly now. But 3 minute 27. I don't want to go too much below, say, 2 minutes. b5 and then nip back. So he's refusing to play rook f8, bishop g7. Could give me a nice position. He's kept coordination here of his rooks rather painfully, unless bishop g5 is an interruption move. Don't think so. So b5 nip back after check to f5 to onto rook f8 with bishop g7. Okay. He's refusing to play rook f8. Okay. Now I can interrupt the rooks anyway. So I'll play rook f7 defending e7. That's better than getting hacked again, but I suppose a5 is going to drop off. Can I use the centre pawns? It's bishop g5 if he wants to forcibly win e7, I guess. Alright, losing that a pawn, a pawn. What about e6 d5, just to try and drive the centre pawn through? That gives me rook b7 as well. There's rook h2, I'll try and coordinate on b2. Ah. The a pawn's going to be winning for him, I guess. I can't do anything about that. I suppose it's a winning a pawn. Try and get back for a blockade. And try and get my centre pawns going. Nope, the blockade doesn't look convincing. Unfortunately, it looks totally winning for him if he gets a7 in. And this rook b8 wins a piece. a6, rook b8 wins a piece. He's not falling for that, nope. Get a bit of extra time for d5 and d4 maybe. So the king's going to win this position. So e5 and e4. Trying to get 2 pawns to compensate. But he's coming up with his king to crush my rook. Not pleasant. So that's the end of the rook. I don't think the pawns help. More clinical move. Can I try and draw this? And there's king. I think I have to take here. I don't think I'm drawing this because bishop e5, bishop b8 looks. That's e3, bishop b8, e2. So I could give that a shot to get an extra tempo. I don't know if that helps. I'll give it a shot to get an extra tempo, but I think bishop e5 doesn't really gain much. I think his pawn's winning. Or is it? Is my pawn compensating? Bishop moves. King c4 and then e3. Hang on a sec. Have I magically drawn this? If I play e3, king c6 is winning for him because he's got b5, and if e2, bishop f2, so I've got to stop the king to be able to play e3 here. If I can get that pawn off, this might be a miracle draw. I'm being pushed off the board by 1902 for the whole game. Oh dear, oh dear. Is this a miracle draw? If I offer a draw, just a test. Nope, he's not accepting a draw. I'll offer a draw again. Looks like a draw to me. Draw! Yes! I don't know what is going on here, but these players are pretty damn strong. Pretty damn strong. So the dragon somehow survived this onslaught, even after this e5, which basically, he says it's a move order slip, but e5 is a pretty crushing idea. How does this rook participate in the attack? Other than e5, it goes via d4 to g4. Looks like a pretty crushing concept. Even with the queens off, the attack rages on. The rook's got a free rein to munch my queenside pawns. The king is hurting his a pawn as well. So I'm ending up losing a whole rook here. So there was one critical tempo moment just to get his king to go to a8. He does the exchange set as well. I don't know, maybe he didn't need to do that. I'm just about able to secure this draw here with king b5, just to be able to decoy the bishop to win this pawn. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.